In this video, I'm discussing ways you can help autistic children in school coming up. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. My name is Dan and I have autism, and I make weekly videos on autism and mental health, so if you'd like to learn more, remember to hit the subscribe button and click the notification bell. It's super important. Oh, and if you're watching over on Facebook, make sure to give this page a like and a follow to see daily videos from me. This is the exact strategy in this video that I wish somebody had used on me when I was a kid, because I've lived through these experiences and I know these downfalls. These are very insightful, personal, experience-based tips and tricks that I have experienced, and I've never shared this with anybody before. So buckle up, it's gonna be a good one. Hey guys, welcome back to the Aspie world. Whew, I would like to know, what do you call primary school where you live? Is it primary school or preschool? Here in the UK we call it primary school, but I know in the US they call it preschool and sometimes kindergarten. So let me know in the comment section below. I read and respond to every single comment. Okay guys, so it's good to be back making videos. I love it. It's January, still making videos in January. How are you all? It's so nice to see you all here, and I'm on a thumbs up binge right now. I'm loving the fact that you guys give these videos thumbs up because it makes me feel like you appreciate these videos. So if you're appreciating these videos and you want to help me get past like 400 likes on a video, please give this video a thumbs up. I know we can do it. You guys are amazing. And while you're at it, if you want to go and follow me on Twitter and Instagram, my handles will be around here somewhere. You can, and the link's in the description below. You follow me, I'll probably follow you back because I do that because I want to build more friends on Twitter and Instagram. So please do that. Okay guys, so I kind of had this idea when I was thinking about primary school when I used to go to school, and I had a hard time with it actually, and it was a really difficult time for me in my life, and I always wanted to kind of help other people and young kids and young people who are coming up and helping their parents understand a bit more from their side of things, how they could help overcome some of the issues that they're facing going to school and what it felt like. So I thought if I explain, understanding autism from a school kid's point of view at that age, then maybe the parents and the teachers and whoever else, the support network around them, can help them become more comfortable, be more successful, be more relaxed and more confident in school. Because at the end of the day, what we want to happen is that every kid has the best chance and the best opportunity in school to do their best. And that's all we want, and that's all we can ask for. So I written down like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think the 5 things here that I want to go over with you guys to talk about how we can help kids with primary schools, okay? And so this is the schooling before you go to secondary school. I know sometimes in America you have like middle school, but here in the UK we have primary school, secondary school, college, and then university. I know it sounds a bit weird for Americans thinking, what's the difference in college and university? And college is kind of like a technical college, and then university is more graduate degree level. It's quite confusing, but we're just talking about primary school today. But I am doing a series on high school and college, university, as well as preschool, which I'm doing right now. So if you want to see those other 2 videos, please make sure to hit the subscribe button with the bell notification, because if you don't hit the bell notification, you don't know when my videos are uploaded, because YouTube isn't that friendly to let you know when my videos are out. Okay, cool. So the first tip, which I wish that I would have had when I was a kid, especially when starting back after the summer, but pretty much every day would be very, very helpful, is allow the kid to enter the class before any other kid goes in there. So one of the things I used to have extreme anxiety about is being around all the other kids and then all rushing into class at the same time and trying to find your chair, and that whole kerfuffle and the whole formality was just horrible. But if I was allowed to go in there, sit down, there's nobody in the classroom, get my stuff out and wait for everyone to come in, it'd be so much easier because I'd be so more relaxed because I've already gone in, I've done all the big rush, I've done all the kerfuffle, the big, the 9 o'clock shuffle to classes has already been done, because there's loads of kids outside and then the bell goes and the teachers make you like line up and then they take classes in one by one, and I get it, but they didn't really accommodate for the fact that I was always anxious about this, and I was so anxious about primary school. A lot of the time I used to just not go. I'd be so sick, I'd make myself so sick with anxiety that I wouldn't go. It's almost like somebody had like thrown me in a sea of freezing water, and it was just horrible. It's like, and it was horrible. Every day felt like an eternity, and it was horrendous. And I just, wish that somebody would have helped me back then, but we didn't know, we didn't have the condition kind of like categorized and diagnosed back in the early 90s, so it was difficult here in Wales. So, like I was saying, having an entrance to the classroom before any other kid would be amazing and just absolutely groundbreaking, because you get to go in there and feel comfortable. Even if you're going in there 2 to 3 minutes before all the other kids, it definitely helps. And it's just as simple as just the teacher letting the kid in just before. So my advice to parents is just to, hey, reach out to your teachers or whatever and say, hey, is it cool if my kid can come in the class just a couple of minutes earlier? And the kid will actually kind of appreciate it, because if you start off on the wrong foot all day, your kid might just have a bad experience all day. You want to start off on a good foot. And so by saying, okay, can you come in the classroom first, then the kid feels a bit more respected, and then they feel a bit more like they can get on with the day with a bit more confidence. Okay, number 2 is something that I actually did have near to the end of my primary school kind of education, but earlier on it would have been very, very helpful indeed. Now, this is allowing the child or the children or whoever you have on the spectrum to sit indoors at break times and lunch times. Because what happens at break times and lunch times, especially here in the UK, I don't know what it's like in America, is they get all the kids outside into like a big courtyard or like a whatever you want, a quad yard, and they just play about. The kids play with balls and like tennis rackets and whatever they do, they just hang out and they just do stuff, and they go running around, go crazy, and just get some energy out. But for me, this was highly anxious and a situation, and what I used to do is I used to hide in the corner of there was like a door, and I just sit at the corner of the door and just wait for it to be over, because it was horrible. There was just so many kids everywhere, and it was just horrendous. And so my parents knew this because my mum was like a dinner lady at one point, which basically meant she kind of patrolled the yard, making sure the kids were okay and it was safe, because there was no fence around the school. It was back in the 90s. It was a bit more rough and ready back then, but so we had people patrolling the yard to make sure nothing crazy happened to the kids. And but then they cottoned onto it, so they allowed me to stay indoors and play with their computers, which was amazing. It was like groundbreaking. When this happened, I was just so much relieved, because I got to stay indoors. I didn't have the anxious feeling of being outside and something, anxiety-ridden kind of coming over me. I was able to sit indoors, play on a computer, which I absolutely loved computers, and I was obsessed with virtual reality and Encarta 97 when I was in school, and or just Encarta in general. I think Encarta 97 came after the one we had, but in school we had like Encarta 91 or something ridiculous, and it was just so good. It was a great experience, but I wish that I'd had that earlier, because that kind of help really was groundbreaking. That helped me get through the day a little bit more. I wasn't completely nervous all day, and I wasn't completely anxious all day. Okay, so number 3 is very, very important. Now, when a kid starts at school, you not only need to know the teacher of the class that they're going to, that the kid is on the spectrum or have additional needs, you need to make sure that every teacher in that establishment understands that person's specific issues or needs. Because what I had to deal with was, yes, my teacher in the class that I was in understood me, but then if I was like going to the toilet or using the water fountain in the corridors, the other teachers would stop me and kind of question certain things, and then I would be stumped and I didn't know how to answer them, and then they thought I was being naughty, and then I'd probably get sent to the headmaster's office or whatever. And so you kind of have to make sure that the specific learning needs of your child is written down in a formality, and then take that to the principal or the headmaster or whatever you want to call it, and then get that distributed to all the teachers, so that every teacher who is teaching in that school will understand those specific needs, because that's very important. Because once they understand that, then they are able to help the child a little bit more, and again, you're going through a day with a bit more ease. And of course, those conversations don't come up where they say, oh, why is that kid doing that, or why is he doing this, or why is she doing that. It's kind of like, oh, I get it, they need a little bit of support, and they can also then educate the other kids who may ask questions about that, because one of the things you got to think about is other kids would be like, hey, why is Dan Jones not participating in PE, or why is he sitting over there indoors when we're all outside screaming and running around? And so the teacher, without them being like, oh, I don't know, they were able to say, well, hey, Dan's taking some time out, and that's cool, and that's very, very helpful. I think that's very needed in primary schools, and I think it's very needed in all schools, but I know that some schools are overrun and they've got quite a lot of staff there, so that's why I suggest going to see the headmaster and saying that it's paramount that you ask the head to then distribute the information to all of the teachers with to know which child is on the spectrum or who has specific needs, because that's so important. So remember that. Okay, so number 4 was something that really interested me, because this is what started this whole video. When I was thinking about stuff, I was always remembering when I used to go to class, and I had this unusual experience where I'd come into class after the weekend, or I'd come into the class after like the summer holidays, or even if I had a day off sick, and I'd come into the class and it would be as if everybody in the class knew something about stuff that, you know, they'd say, oh, we're going to make chairs in a semicircle, and I'd be like, and as if they'd done it a million times before, and they'd all rush to do it. I felt like every kid in the class knew what the teacher wanted from them, and they'd say, oh, do you want to do pens again? And they'd get out the pens and do some stuff, and I'm sitting there thinking, what on earth is going on? It's like I've walked into an alien class. Like, I don't understand anything they've said, I don't relate to any of this, and I don't remember any of this from the previous kind of year. And it happened quite often, where I'd go in and they'd all get excited about something, and they'd all know like a certain song or a nursery rhyme, or they'd be excited about the times table that we've been working on, and they'd know the one that we've been working on, and everyone would kind of seem to be in this know. And then I was like, well, I'm not in that know. And because of that, I kind of felt like super alienated from the class. Like they just were constantly just, you know, they knew all about like the stories that they've been talking about, and I just didn't know. I was completely in the dark about it. And sometimes I probably would have been present for those things. I just didn't realize because I was not thinking about that on that day, if you know what I mean. So one of the things that I would say for number 4 is that every day have the teacher explain like a catch up or a debrief, a really small explanation of what's going to happen on that day to the child on the spectrum, because then it'll catch them up, because they needed just a little bit more information than the other kids. And this is super important. Like, it's not something that is taken lightly. I mean, I almost felt like I didn't belong in school because I didn't understand what they were saying, and it was kind of like, it happened a lot, pretty much daily. You know, they'd be talking about stuff and I'd be completely out of the loop, especially like the naughty kids who sit on a table and talk about, you know, I don't know, Pokemon and BMXing and kind of stuff, and they were all in a group talking about it, and I was just like completely out of it. Even though I love Pokemon, I was out of that group because I didn't really understand or know what was going on. So that kind of gave me loads of anxiety. And again, starting the day off with the rotten one, thinking, well, you know, I don't know what's going on, I might as well just not do anything because I'm just rubbish at everything. You know, that's how I felt. So unfortunately for me, that's exactly how I felt. So moving on from that, I think that one of the things is that you would definitely have a teacher to explain the lesson and the previous lesson and why we're doing what we're doing to the child on the spectrum. Just a little one as the class kind of gets on with it, because that's all it takes. And I had something like a similar when I was in university, and it just helped so much, because you just need that little extra time and a little bit extra help. And look, if you can't give someone an extra help, then what are you doing? You know, you can't call yourself an educator. So I'm sure all teachers will be happy to help with this because that's their job. Why wouldn't they? Thinking back, if I had a teacher come to me and explain the lesson of what was going to happen that day and what was going to happen, you know, the rest of the week, or why we were doing what we were doing, I'd have been so much more relaxed. And that relaxation would have made me feel like, okay, I can go to school with confidence, knowing that I'm going to know what's going to happen. I'm not going to be left out or left behind or sat there clueless while the other kids do, you know, what they're doing, because, you know, the teacher's already said to me, hey, Dan, it's this, you know, don't worry about it. We're all doing this and it's cool. So it's vitally important. And I think that we all should take that very seriously and implement it straight away. Okay, so the last thing I'm going to talk about, number 5, is very important as well. Obviously, these are all important, but I mean, this is something that is super interesting and it's very, very simple to do. And all you have to do is simply listen to what the kid needs and what the kid wants in terms of help. So one of the things is the teachers, when I was in school, thought they knew best all the time. And I guess they are always correct because they're the teacher and the teacher knows best and the teacher does all the stuff and blah, blah, blah. But to me, it was kind of almost like when I said to them I had an issue with something, they'd brush it off because they didn't really understand the condition. But if you understand that this kid has issues, then you open up the second dialogue, which is, hey, I'm going to listen to what they have to say because it's valuable to understand how to help them. Teachers often think that kids ain't going to be able to tell you how they feel about something or what they want to do or why they need help with something because they're just kids, you know, they just muck about a lot and they look to you for pretty much everything. But in terms of people on the spectrum, if they have an issue with something and then you ask them, hey, do you need help with something, or what do you have an issue with? They will tell you like exactly, hey, like I've got an issue with this or this, and listening, just sitting there listening to a kid would help, because nobody really listened to me when I was a kid when I told them what was wrong. They kind of just didn't really listen to what I was saying when I was saying how I was like extremely anxious about going outside or whatever, or walking to school, because up until I was like 15, I had to be walked to school. You know, I couldn't go to school on my own, and partly with the fact that I had issues with direction, so I couldn't really walk from my house to the school, and then the other part was the anxiety. So it was a big old mess. But if they'd have just listened to me in the first place, then they would have been able to understand that, not kind of like looking at it as a negative, or Dan's playing it because he doesn't want to walk to school on his own, or he's being a big baby or whatever, you know. I had that quite a bit. So maybe just ask the kid, hey, what are you having issues with? What do you need support with? What's going on in your life that you think you could, you know, we could help with? That would change the game. Imagine somebody just listening to you when you feel like nobody else did or nobody else would. amazing. So that would definitely help in school, and actually I suppose this would help in personal life, friendship, any kind of relationship, even in professional life. If you're watching this as an adult and just taking these tips for your kid, if you've got on the spectrum yourself, then this might be able to help you in your professional life, or even in school if you're going back at a later kind of date, if you're like a mature student or something like that, you're doing like an access to higher education course. There's loads of ways that this can be very helpful, and it's very simple. Just ask the person to listen. Very, very simple. Okay guys, that was everything. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to see another video, please click on the end card to see our next videos on this channel, and hit that big subscribe button in the middle so that you don't miss another video. Alright guys, peace.